And just okay. So what's that say?
Well,
Oh, that so X. I can't go live on X. Whatever.
I think we're live.
Yes, we are live.
We
All
are
right.
live.
Okay, everybody. So today's guest, we have a musician powerhouse in store, singer, songwriter, author. Man, this guy does it all. He not only does he play music, but he makes candles, man, and he does everything in between. And I would like to introduce Mr. Pete Evick, everybody.
What's up, everybody? How you doing?
Oh, Pete.
Thank
Woo!
you guys for having me on here, man. Awesome.
Hey, thanks for coming on our show, man. We're very excited to have you on here. Very excited.
Make my hair stand up. Just think, I didn't get nervous until you was like, text me.
Oh, did you think I was going to cancel?
So let me give you just a quick background. I don't know if you know too much about me or my co-host here. So I was on Master Distiller Moonshiner, and I am from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You might know somebody else who's from this area.
I know it well.
Right? I went against two professionals. One had a distillery. One went to school for fermentation science. And I'm just a backwoods dude with a mohawk who makes some badass moonshine in the woods. And I won. So,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So this is one of the cool things that come about. You know what I mean? Like I love music. I love metal. I love music just in general, man. So like when I had the opportunity, I was like, listen to me. My partner here he was talking podcasts, and I'm like, dude, that's a great idea. Like, boom.
Well, I'll tell you what, I grew up with hair metal. I mean, hair metal was a big part of my life, like
and
my relationships. I mean,
and he still has it, right?
And you know, honestly, I've been listening to your music, been listening to your songs, and they're really, really good. And your cover, Faithfully, to me was amazing.
Oh, man, thank you so much. Thank you.
It was amazing. Like I actually almost had a hard time listening to it because it reminds me of an old relationship that I still have strong feelings about. So it was like, and actually, like I was like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna have to turn this off because I don't want to get too emotional before our interview here and I didn't want to get too emotional during it. So I'm kind of just rolling through that. But it's true, that song, you nailed that. Amazing.
That, man. It's been an important song to me since I was a child. The lyrics are powerful, and if you live in the business I live in, you've lived that song. There's no way around it. You mean it when you sing it, you know. So.
And I think that's like the best way. So that's how people kind of, you know, when you pick that band that you like, there's a reason why you like that band. So like for me, when I it's crazy, dude, because like when I go to shows, I love music, right? It's not just the band that I want to see. It's I want to watch you play guitar, or I want to watch the drummer play. And like, dude, I zone into that, man. And it's just about the music, man. So,
right. The entire and sounds like you like to feed off the emotion of the players.
Bro, absolutely, man. Like, dude, listen, I've been jamming your stuff for a long time, and I'm like, this dude is freaking amazing, man. Like, you're a straight up rock star.
You guys are being too kind. There's a guitar player in every corner.
Yeah, but not as
he graduated only a couple years after I did. You know, so, and I noticed that there was a couple parallels in his life that reminded me of my own. And one is that it said that his mom was into Elvis. Is that true? Did your mom like Elvis Presley? Because my mom did too. She exposed me to a lot of Elvis Presley when I was young. And, you know, so, and the other one that I saw was Kiss was a big influence. One of the first bands that influenced you.
I see your shirt.
That's why I wore my Kiss shirt tonight. Because I'll tell you what, Gene Simmons, I didn't think he was even a real human being when I was a kid. You know, I was enthralled with Gene Simmons, his makeup.
That was it. They were
stage presence. I don't know if you remember Cream magazine, when they had in the back of the magazines, you could dress up like Kiss at the Kiss contest.
Yeah. And they also always had pictures. They always had pictures of Kiss without their makeup on, but a little bit of their face covered and stuff like that.
And you were dying to see
a little bit of mystique, like
yeah. And just to truly blow your mind, 100% true story is my mother actually used to go see Elvis before he was super famous. She would see him in the clubs in Tupelo. And there's this famous picture of Elvis playing the Tupelo State Fair in '57, I think it is. Real famous picture with him holding the microphone in a black outfit. And she's about 4 rows back in the audience, and you can see my mom's face clear as can be in that picture.
If that black outfit is that suit that he used to wear, like back in the '50s, that black suit that he had, I fell in love with that suit.
He's
One of the
into
videos he's got, I loved his style. He was a very smooth, talented artist for
He
sure.
was the real thing. And especially in the shape the world's in today, and I try not to get political, but at the height of his career, he went into the Army. He was drafted and didn't try to go out. He went, you know what I mean? And he was a cool guy.
Here, I have something to rebuttal that. So check this out. So when Elvis actually went to the military, do you know where they sent him?
I do know. I don't remember, but I understand it was pretty safe.
Alaska.
Right? What's that?
They sent him to Alaska.
I get it.
Right? And listen, so my grandmother's son, so my grandmother was adopted. So the lady who adopted my grandmother, her son actually served in the military with Elvis.
That's great.
In Alaska, and had like photos with him and everything. So that's kind of cool, man. So
that's awesome.
That is cool.
Sweet.
That is really cool.
So let's dive into it, man. So like, when I watch, dude, like you are a seriously talented guitarist, dude. Like, so when did you first know like music was your thing? Like that's where you wanted to be?
It was 5 years old. It was the first time I saw Kiss, and from that moment on, no, I never looked back. There was never a single moment from age 5 that there was never a what else do you want to do with your life? There was never a go to college. My parents were so supportive of it. There was just it's just what it was. It was lifestyle from 5. It wasn't about the chicks. It wasn't about the chicks. It wasn't about the money. It wasn't about the drugs. I knew nothing about that at 5 years old. It was just something clicked inside of me that moment I saw Ace Frehley with that guitar, and there was no doubt I was born to do that.
And you just like when you started playing the guitar, like did you pick it up pretty quick?
That was my next question.
Sorry, Rich.
That was good.
I think that for the time in the 70s, you would say I picked it up quick. In my 4th grade talent show, I played a Kiss song. In my 6th grade talent show, I played Eruption from Van Halen. So I was accomplished, I think. And it was amazing to a lot of people back then. But now you see these 5 and 6 year old kids playing some crazy, crazy stuff. I always say if I had YouTube, the way these kids had YouTube, I would give Malmsteen and Steve Vai a run for their money, man.
That's so awesome.
I feel like you give Steve Vai a run for his money now. Like he's up there in my top 10, man. Like
I always say, now that Edward's passed on, Steve's the best living guitar player, my favorite living guitar player.
Nice.
I knew of him because he'd released that record Flexible after he left Frank Zappa, but before he was in David Lee Roth's band. And I was only 13 or 12, but I was enough into it that my guitar teachers and other people would show me things like that when it came out. So I was into him during Flexible. And then when I was such a Van Halen fan from day one that my eyes were so focused on what Roth was going to do. And when I saw Vai in that Yankee Rose video, man, that sealed my deal. There was a moment where I went, oh man, Dave's going to win this. That's the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. That version of that band blew my mind. And Vai to this day is I'm probably more influenced by Vai than I am Edward or Randy, which were the 2 guys when I was growing up that mattered the most. But that stuff that Vai does with the sliding, interval stuff, I'm just fascinated by it. And then every once in a while I'll play something, I'll go back and watch a video, and I'll hear what sounds like a little violic, and I get so happy and excited with myself because I never do it on purpose. It's just that stuff starts to become part of your DNA. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what to do and where it sounds good and stuff like that, man. So
have you ever listened to much of Andy LaRoque from King Diamond? What do you think of Andy LaRoque?
Have I ever
any of his? Andy LaRoque.
But did you say have I ever listened too much? Is that what you said?
Have you heard Andy LaRoque stuff from King Diamond at all?
So when I was in high school, before Poison and before King Diamond, rock and roll was just rock and roll, right? You liked Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Jay Giles Band, and Bryan Adams, whatever. You kind of liked everything. And then about the same time that the Queensryche, King Diamond, and the kind of Poison Warrant thing hit, it divided those bands divided the scene. And my singer in my high school band was a Queensryche and King Diamond fucking fanatic. And so at 14 and 15, Andy LaRoque was just shoved down my throat.
Oh no!
He's incredible, though. There's no doubt he's an incredible player, and Mickey D's incredible drummer. I don't love that King Diamond vocal thing. I don't love it. I'm all for the theatrics. I'm a Kiss fan. So I love it. As I've grown older, I've learned to like the King Diamond stuff more. But as a kid, I was always very aware of how incredible LaRoque was, without a doubt.
Yeah. Well, I think that's very driven by like an Alice Cooper type of a theme show. I saw Alice shows when I was younger, and they were amazing, like the live show.
Right.
Sorry,
we're all waving because of the Grammy wave your hand thing. I think.
Yeah. Grandson, he wants to know. He's all fired up over there.
Oh, he's saying for Grammy to wave your. I got you.
Yeah. I'm not Grammy.
Yeah. But go on.
All right. Okay. So when you I read where I did a little research. So you've been playing with the Bret Michaels band for over 20 years, around 20 or more.
21 years as of Memorial Day weekend.
Woo! So here's a question. So that's kind of like like a marriage in a sense, right? Because you're with somebody, you spend a lot of time with them.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? What do you do to bring yourself down after? You know what I mean? Because everybody's got to like mellow. Is that you know what I mean?
Down after the show, you mean? Or
yeah, because I know after we do our podcast, I'm on such a high. Like I feel so good, I can't go to sleep. I'm not even drinking. I'm like, holy shit, what happened? So I can only imagine.
So Bret is the best friend I've ever had in my life. We're super connected. There's a giant gap in financial status, without a doubt. But despite that, he's one of the greatest guys you'd ever know. And it's funny. There's such irony in Bret. He will fly from his house in California to my house in Virginia in his private jet, and then he gets to my house and he'll sleep on the floor and use his duffel bag as a pillow. He's such a interesting character to be this filthy rich rock star, and at the same time this super just down to earth human being. And so the friendship between me and him is great. But as far as walking off the stage to be coming down off the energy, I hate to be a downer, but I've been playing on the road since 1990. I walked off my high school podium and got right in the van, and we hit the road and we were touring. And this has been this way now for 35 years, right? 35 years. I haven't taken care of myself. My body is beat up. So there's no adrenaline rush. When I walk off that stage, I hate to say it, I'm like, how quick can I get to the fucking bed? But if you've ever seen the show, if you've actually seen our live show, I give 200% on that stage. I'm jumping and running, and it's the same guy. I'm 18 years old on that stage. And then the second we, I always joke when we start every rose to 10, 20,000 people, whoever we're playing in front of, that's the most exciting moment of their night, every rose. And to me, it's the work's almost done bell. Bing, bing, bing. We got 10 minutes.
So that's it. Like we got one or two.
but don't get me wrong. I'm grateful to be there.
Right.
I'm grateful. It's unbelievable that I get to feed my children and my family with that guitar. And I'm one of the lucky few, man. And I'm doing it. A lot of hired gun guys like me they don't even like the band they're in there. It's just a job to them. But in high school, I was playing Poison songs in the talent show. I had my own career before Bret, my own band, Evick. I had 2 records out. We were on tour. We were doing our own thing. And before that, I had a band called Some Odd Reason that had a record deal. We were out on tour with Fuel and the Goo Goo Dolls right in that era. I had my own thing. I wasn't out looking for a gig. I was such a Poison fan that when the opportunity came, and I was able to bring my own band with me for the first 10 years. My drummer and bass player in my band, Evick, we were the band. It was more like Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. It was Bret Michaels in our band. So I got to bring my family with me, because me and the drummer have been together for 36 years, and we still play together today. And so it was an opportunity to do what I was already doing on a scale much, 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 much bigger. And not have to be the boss, to be honest with you.
Right. It's nice to just go out there and do your job.
Yeah.
And run. So that leads me. So how was it? So the first, so when you had to try out for Bret Michaels, right? Now you just talking about being a fan and like that. So what I'm trying to compare it to is so when I went on the show Moonshiner Master Distillers, right? I'd never met those guys. I didn't, even when the judges, right? So you got all the judges, they're the same moonshiners, right? So I never met them. So for my first time meeting them, I'm putting a jar of moonshine up for them to judge.
Right.
So I'm already fan of the year, but I'm not, dude, I'm holding it all back because I'm hound dog them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got the job and it's to win.
So there was never an audition.
Okay.
The first year Bret went out solo, we were his opening band for most of the tour on the East Coast. So he knew my band, he knew me, he was watching my work ethic, and then his guitar player, who is still one of my good friends, Steve Frangidakis, was leaving. He had to leave the band. So Steve basically just told Bret, Pete's the guy. He believes in you. He's not going to do it just to take your money. He's the guy. And then so I was supposed to join the band in August. And then in May, Bret called me and said, I've got a small radio gig. I've told the story 1,000 times and I still crack up every time I tell it. I have a small radio gig in Detroit. I don't really want to fly my whole band across the coast. Can you guys just drive up your band and we'll do this set together? And he gave me a list of songs. We never rehearsed. And when I thought it was just a radio gig, in my brain, that's 100, 200 people in a radio station parking lot. This was 15,000 people.
Oh, no.
Oh, shit, dude.
Largest crowd I'd ever played in front of.
Was you nervous?
I don't know, because he's such a pro at poker face. You don't know. But we weren't good, and part of that is because even though we learned those Poison songs note for note, most of them we already knew. If you know anything about playing music, if you wrote a song and you've been playing that song for 30 years, it evolves. You don't even recognize it evolves, but it evolves.
Yeah.
It changes. Tempos change, different things change, just little things change. And so we went up there playing it just like the recordings in 86 and 88.
It was slow.
And it didn't gel to the way he'd been doing them for the last 10 years. He recognized the problem. I recognized the problem. And that was actually the week before Memorial Day. And then he called me on Sunday, and he goes, "How do you think that went?" I said, "Oh man, it was awful." He goes, "Well, if you thought it was good, then we'd have a problem. But that that it wasn't great, that's we're on the same page. So let's try it again." He said. He said, he goes, I have a show in Nashville, Tennessee on Memorial Day weekend.
That's cool.
Opening up for Leonard Skinner, 33,000 people sold out.
Damn.
Starwood Amphitheater. So we go down, no rehearsal again.
Rock star shit, bro.
And right before the show, he goes, "Pete, I've watched you play. I'm a fan of yours. Don't try to impress me. Just go out and be exactly who you are." And I threw it all out, took a deep breath, and went out there. And at the end of the night, we got to nothing but a good time, and gave me a high five at the end of the song. And here we are 21 years later.
Bro, that's got to feel like holy shit.
That's
dude.
freedom.
I'm
That's freedom as an artist.
Yeah,
when you're
an artist is one, but that's got to feel like, because you grew up listening to him, and like, it's that full circle moment, man. And that right there is above and beyond anything that anybody can give,
Yep. And it is freedom, by the way. I do play the solos, Every Rose, Fallen Angel, and Good Time. I play those solos relatively close to the recordings, but like Unskinny Bop and Ride the Wind, Bret gives me complete creative control to do whatever I want in those songs.
So if you want to like just whip out a fucking like a solo where it's going to sound good, because you write music, the time and the tempo and what and when it should be put in. And
well, that's when you create the best, is when you're allowed that type of freedom to do what you do. And if you're good at it and you can get it, you fall into that groove. Right. It's like time stands still in a way. I don't even know how to explain it. When you hit it, it's like when that ball player steps up and hits that home run. It's like everything looks in slow motion to him, So
exactly.
It's neat when those moments happen, and then it happens with something like what you're working on, your career like that. That's amazing. I kind of had that experience with his father tattooing. His father taught me how to tattoo, and had some pretty magical moments like that where, just the energy showed that you're right where you're supposed to be.
Yeah. Those moments when that you're home, that's powerful stuff.
It is. It's cool.
And if you're home, it's with Bret Michaels and that kind of stuff. That's really cool, man. That's super cool. That's cool.
Let's go to like, what is probably one of the most memorable? Well, no, we're not even going to go there. We're going to talk about the book. Okay. How about that? So how did you come up with the name MTV Famous?
So, it's funny, when the book came out, the very first day it came out, a lot of the media that had always been on my side with my first book really turned on me because they took what that name meant wrong. In the opening, so as I was writing the book and sending the chapters to the publisher, who was also the editor, he would keep writing back these things saying MTV Famous. That was him saying that. And at first I didn't get it. And by the time the book was done, it had locked into my soul. I understood what he meant. As a kid, what I was chasing was a different kind of career than the generation before me. I was that first generation that thought success was MTV.
Oh,
right.
What's up, right there?
Because when you look back, a lot of people don't think about this. Tons of the stuff that was on the MTV countdown or was in rotation on MTV was not in the top 40 radio airplay stuff. So you could have, Van Halen, Panama, that thing went nonstop for almost 2 years on MTV. It didn't get that kind of radio play. It never charted. It wasn't a top 10 single. Do you know what I mean?
Right. It was the video.
Yeah. And so as we were writing the book and talking about everything, he kept mentioning that I was chasing MTV fame. And I just thought it was a funny name. One day it just hit me. It says that makes a lot of sense. It's eye catcher. And then and then I had the vision of the cover with the Moon Man, and I just thought, let's go with this.
That's perfect, dude. That is
A lot of people,
just kind of when things happen like that. That's when you know you got to roll with it, man.
yeah.
Like,
But a lot of people thought I was claiming that I had achieved MTV fame, and that was not what I was saying.
No.
I was very fortunate. Eddie Trunk and Don Jameson both went on their podcast, their radio shows, and everything, and really got behind me and explained to the communities what it was about and that they understood it. And then everyone backed off and received it well.
Yeah. So okay. So here's another one for you. So being like, I mean, to me, you're rock star famous for me, right? So I know, like, for me, like, now that I won, I'm in a community of moonshiners, right? So is there like the same type of community, so to speak, with rock stars?
It's an incredibly interesting question, and it also goes back to what Lit was saying too. Usually, I spent most of my life feeling like a loner. You hear that a lot about artists, right?
Yeah.
You feel that. And where I'm from, I never went to LA. I spent an enormous amount of time in New York City, but I never went to LA, and I was never part of a scene.
Okay.
Virginia collectively became a scene in the early 90s because of Dave Matthews being from here, and then Hootie and the Blowfish from the Carolinas. And so there was a cultural movement in music that was from Virginia. Only at that time, when I was already an accomplished guitar player with a record deal, I was doing something completely different than that. I wasn't really part of that scene. Now, I love Hootie and I love Dave, and I actually have old videos of before they broke. We were playing clubs together. I have videos of marquees that say my band at that time was called Some Odd Reason. It's Some Odd Reason and Dave Matthews, but Dave wasn't Dave yet, and Some Odd Reason and Hootie and the Blowfish, and they were just regional touring musicians trying to get a gig. And I started to realize I was playing on these bills with these acoustic acts, not acoustic, but you know how those bands sound. They weren't hard rock acts. So anyway,
right.
My entire life, I felt like a loner. I felt like I didn't belong. Even when I was with my best of friends, something felt disconnected. No one being mean to me. I wasn't bullied or just never felt like I belonged. And a couple of years after I joined Bret's band, I remember one Christmas morning, I'm getting text from, Christmas, good, happy, Merry Christmas text from Ace Frehley and John Corabi and the guys in Warrant and the guys in Firehouse and Bret. And at that moment, I realized that was my family. I was one of them all along. I just wasn't in the right spot.
That's
right.
I really like how you. That's a great answer, man.
And that's similar to what you're explaining to yourself. Yep. Yeah.
See, it was when I started making. I've been making moonshine for 15 years, right? Maybe a little bit longer. And dude, it probably took 10 years before I tasted moonshine to even compare to what I was making.
Yeah, right.
Right. And then next thing you know, I'm jumping into a challenge. I'm going in like blind, like I don't know what moonshine is. And here, like, dude, to hear them say, like, man, like, dude, I didn't even like mix it. I just did what I did and gave them what they wanted, and I won.
Whatever. Somebody led you to that finish line, buddy. Somebody led you there.
Yeah.
And look at the smile on your face for it.
That's because I'm talking to you, bro. You put that on, like you put that connection there, bro. Like,
Pete, is that where you grew up in Virginia? Is that where you grew up?
Born and raised in Manassas, Virginia, and I'm right here right now.
And what was your first vehicle, man? What was the first car you drove?
So
that's a good question, Rich.
To tell the truth is embarrassing.
No, listen, we all got one, bro.
Not like this. This story is not good. So I was just talking to my son about it a few minutes ago. So my father was an auto mechanic for Ford his entire life. Oh my God. And my entire family, other than me, are race car fanatics.
Oh, okay.
Right? And my dad, this is a terrible story, man.
Well, listen,
No.
if you don't want
If
to
you don't want to
sell
sell it, you don't have to
No,
tell
no,
it. I don't.
I've told it before, but the older I get, the more disconnected I get from myself because we grew up poor. We
Same.
weren't an upper middle
Okay.
class. We grew up poor, and I need to
I can
phrase that.
understand that.
I need to phrase that
I
before
guess we do.
before I explain this story. And we grew up poor, and Northern Virginia has little pockets of poor inside very wealthy government workers. And, you know, I went to school where, for some reason, my one neighborhood, my literally one little neighborhood in high school, instead of going to the school that I should have gone with the other poor kids, this one neighborhood was bumped up to us having to go to the rich school, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we were bussed in, and there was a lot of, what do you call it? Peer pressure? I don't, whatever it was. It was just,
Yeah. Teasing, peer pressure, teasing.
bullying.
Yeah, dude.
and so on my 16th birthday, my father brought me home a '67 Mustang.
Oh, whoa.
Boom.
It needed some work, and me and my dad weren't very close. And he thought this would be an opportunity for us to make up for lost time and maybe work on this car together.
Oh, wow.
But my bitterness to my dad at that point in my life, and to me, it just looked like an old fucking car.
Right. Okay, I understand.
I was like, Dad, I don't want this fucking car.
Okay.
I don't want to put this project together. You know, all my friends at that time were having Nissan Sentras and Corollas, just pieces of shit, man. You know what I mean? Just. But to me, that was more appealing because that's what my friends had.
I understand.
Yeah,
You didn't understand it at the time. You couldn't see it then.
So my dad took it back and came home with what was then a Mercury Capri, which was, you know how Ford and Mercury have similar models and call them different things or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was like a Mustang, but it was the 80s Mustang, like the short back thing, you know what I mean? Which a lot of my friends had too. And it wasn't that I didn't want the Mustang, I just wanted a more modern car. Do you get where I'm going?
Yeah.
So he bought me that car. And I didn't really care or regret it for a while. But on my first year playing with Bret Michaels was the year that Ford made those Mustangs start to look like the old ones again.
Okay.
The 2004 Mustang that looked just
I remember,
like, yeah.
Yes.
And we would be out on the road and I would stare at those things, and it started to eat me alive. It ate me alive. I became very aware of what kind of mistake I had made. So much that on the last day of the tour, when we went back to Bret's offices, Bret gave everybody bonus checks and sent them on their way, and he stopped me. I was the last to go out, and he gave me a different check. And he said, I've been watching you for 6 months. Look at those Mustangs. He goes, next time I see you, I want you to be in one of those Mustangs, or I want this check back.
That's awesome, man.
So
That's sick. That's
so I went.
Yeah.
So I went and got the Mustang, and it became such an important, valuable part of my lesson in my life that it turned into a family tradition. And on both of my children's 16th birthdays, we went and I bought them Mustangs.
Nice, bro. So this is an amazing story, dude. Like
it's an amazing story.
Like,
I mean,
it's
heart wrenching, but at the same time, it's a beautiful story.
Yeah,
man. It's a beautiful story.
You know, it created you to do this,
right? And so now both of my kids are Mustang fanatics, and I don't know if you know, my oldest kid is pursuing a career in music himself, and we were shooting his new video 2 days ago, and one of the lines is about a shiny, fast Mustang, and so the reason we were talking about it today is because he's trying to locate a blue 57 Mustang, like the one my dad brought home for me, to be in the opening scene of the video. So you asked me what my first car to drive was. It's a lifelong story that you opened up.
I'll tell you, those realizations that we have as we grow up and we become men, and we look back at those mistakes, it teaches us how to teach our sons better.
Yeah,
it teaches you how to be a better father. That's
right.
all. And we need to have those lessons.
Yeah,
I think,
it created a tradition without even thinking about creating a tradition. You know what I mean? Like that's super cool. Now, hopefully, when your sons have sons,
yeah, right.
You know,
but let me tell you though, I have to be honest with you. There's things. Are you guys parents at all? Either one of you?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, we're both parents.
With multiple kids or one kid?
I just got one.
Have two.
I always feel widespread the love when I could just give it to one.
So it's funny the stuff you're bringing up. I know you're laughing about that. I had to go through therapy when my second kid was being born because I was afraid of that. I was afraid I wouldn't be able to give
him enough love
to two. It was a serious thing. But you having two kids, you have to know that you get caught in a trap. If you do something for one, you have to do something for the other.
Right.
So my youngest kid, knowing that his birthday was coming and knowing that he was supposed to get a Mustang, he did the amount of research to what Gavin's Mustang had cost 4 years before that and what year it was. And he did this whole formula of math of how much I was supposed to spend.
Are you serious?
Because of inflation and how new the car had to be. I had to buy him 4 years later the exact equivalent of the car. You get where I'm going?
Where's the depreciation at?
Right. And then he loved that car. He loved it more than any. His love for that car was fascinating to me. And then he totaled it about 6 months in.
Oh.
And I'm not, again, I don't have Bret Michaels money, but my kids are everything. So I hunted and found the exact same car and bought him the same exact car twice. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
a good dad there.
Did what?
Did you make it slower?
No. But there you go again. So let me tell you this. On my 16th birthday, I did drive the 57 Mustang for a week. I did. It was my car. I had a car. You know what I mean? I'm like, I should go out to my car and get what I can show you. 100% true story on my children's life. On my 16th birthday, I got a reckless driving ticket.
Was you burning out?
I was doing 80 and a 45. And I've been on driver's probation. I am on driver's probation right now. And I've been on driver's probation since my 16th. I've never been off of it.
Are you serious even now?
Gosh.
I got a ticket. I got a reckless driving ticket last week on my way to a gig. I could go to my car and get it and show you. I fought a bunch of them. Depends on where I am financially, and if I'm going to go to jail or not.
What are you driving now?
What's that?
What are you driving to get these tickets?
I have one of the newer Ford Broncos.
Oh man!
Hey, listen, that's our generation. I'm telling you. Our generation grew up at a time that there was not many people on the road. Right. And you just got it, man. I used to drive to Pittsburgh out to see his dad. I'm talking like 4 hours from Philly. Yeah. I mean, 4 hours in an old Nova with a straight six-banger in it, 4-door. I mean, whoa, 90, 100 the whole way.
My point to him is my dad, after that, being an auto mechanic, put a governor on the engine of my next car. Yeah. So he had it set to 70. I could still get to 70 because the highways were 65 or whatever. But just knowing it was there pissed me off, man.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
But look, they did that to me, Harley. So listen, I'm a Harley guy. Same thing, right? My dad was a Harley dude. I got it from him. So I go and buy this Harley a couple of years ago. I'm trading one in, get this one. And I walk into the Harley shop and they have this bike that I never seen before. It was a CVO Road Glide. And I'm like, I'm drooling. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's red, it's black, it's gray, it's got, it's everything I want. I call my wife, she's like, boom, I'm coming, let's check it out. So I buy this bike, right? That bike, I go home, I'm riding it. I call the Harley. I said, dude, we got a problem. Now I traded a 120 was a 120R in for a 118 M8, right? So the M8 was pretty snappy, but it shut off at 100 mile an hour. Now, who in the fuck wants to ride a Harley that shuts off at 100 mile an hour?
That's right. It's like a Les Paul with 5 strings. Who wants that? Right.
Right. So then I'm like, well, Father's Day was coming up. This no lie. So I got this flyer in the mail. Harley come out with a 131 engine. I took all the pictures of my kid, everything off of the refrigerator, and the only thing that was on there was that flyer for the 131.
Yeah.
Father's Day came. My wife, got it for me. So I go and have it installed. And
good.
That bike now, because I told the guy, I said, listen, dude, it shuts off at 100. I'm in third gear at 100 mile an hour, and I can't go no faster. He's like, yeah, but you got there real quick. I'm like, look, I can't
It's probably keeping you alive, man.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's the
probably keeping you alive, Jason.
I have to ask, did you say you're from Philly?
He is, yes.
Yes, I'm from Philly.
Do you live there still?
I do. I live in Westchester, Pennsylvania.
Gotcha. So I got to tell you, before I was in Bret's band, I would play the East Coast, the clubs, all the time. And this place has been 2 names, but at the time that I was playing it the most frequent on South Street was a club called the Pontiac Grill.
Yes, I've heard of the Pontiac Grill. I've been there. And
across the street from this fucking place, am I allowed to talk the way I want?
Absolutely, bro. You yourself, this is heavy metal, man.
Had this, they were open like 4 a.m. pizza shop. And the pizza is the biggest piece of pizza I've ever seen in my life. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know. Yes, I do. The giant slices. The slices are like a pie.
Yeah, but holy shit, that's good. Have you ever had that?
Yes, I have. I have. That's I'm trying to think.
If you say the name, I'll remember it. It's everyone knows.
I think that they have one in Westchester now too. Actually, they opened one up there. I mean, the pizza boxes, you can't even get out the door with them.
Yeah,
they're so big. The pizza box. I'm trying to remember the name of it.
And they only sell on Mondays. It's only cheese. Like there's a couple days where you can only get pepperoni. Like the menu. It's a really weird thing. But I remember playing the Pontiac Grill a few times and walking out at like 2 a.m. and there's this giant line and I didn't realize it was a pizza place. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Let me go see what's happening. Is Prince playing next door or something? I don't know. And then it was just a pizza joint. And then it became something I love. Lorenzo's. This guy knows
Lorenzo's.
Correct, buddy. Yeah.
Look at that.
That's my buddy Hans. It's Lorenzo's. That's it.
Yeah.
It's Lorenzo's. Hans.
It was funny.
Yeah.
I think that I don't know if you guys know or not, but Eric Brittingham from Cinderella is one of my best friends, and he was in the Bret Michaels band with us for about 5 years. And I said Pontiac Grill to him, and he went Lorenzo's. He knew where I was going with it because that's how big the place is, or whatever. You know what I mean? I just never remember. I'll forget the name when we're done here.
Just write it down, Pete. That's what we do now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm ready for a slice of that pizza. And I'll definitely have to take my son up there soon to Lorenzo's. But we go to a place called Benny's in Westchester. My son's addicted to Benny's pizza. That's like every other week we go up to Benny's. It's really good. It's a very similar style pizza with the way the cheese is and the sauces.
So Benny's has become a chain.
It may have. I don't know if it's the same one. I know that this Benny's has been in Westchester forever. I don't know if it's the same or.
It is. I know the story. Literally 8 shops down from my candle shop that I'm at right now, they just opened a Benny's. It's the same thing. It's okay. But it ain't nothing like that fucking Lorenzo's. Ain't nothing like it.
Yeah. All right. So here's a question. So this Cindy again is gonna be like when I become like rock star famous, she's gonna be the head of my fan club. But she's got some questions, man. She wants to know
about the candles. Where can I get your candles?
I'm in the shop right now.
She'll just come on down. We'll get all fired up and get some candles.
Yeah. Here, look around. There they are.
Oh yeah, dog.
Nice.
Oh, awesome.
Damn, bro. So what got you?
That's awesome.
Say it again.
You, right?
What is it?
Bourbon, whiskey.
What's the question? Are you just
make whiskey too?
Oh, I don't make it.
Your dames
don't make it. There's a distillery here in Manassas. that I picked. I don't make it; they make it for me. Let me just
Well,
say
right
that.
on. No, right on. So you get the taste. It's what you
Yeah,
like.
keep it there.
Say it again.
It's probably what you like. You
Yeah,
chose.
that's what, I don't know how to explain the process. You would know, being a moonshiner, how different all that stuff is. And I picked that it's 98 proof. Like, I drank from a bunch of barrels before it goes to the process.
Yep. Right. So
And
you're looking for that flavor profile.
yeah. And then I picked some things like what proof it would be and stuff like that. I had a lot of input on it, but yeah, it's I always joke, because it being 98 proof and being a local distillery, I can't afford to drink my own whiskey. a lot of times people will come.
On your like, here, Pete. Here's a couple cases.
No,
Take them.
he's giving me cases, but
I'll
I give it as gifts and do different things.
Yeah.
take you on tour.
But a lot of people will come backstage with us and they'll see my bottle of Jack Daniels. They're like, "Why don't you have your own whiskey?" I'm like, "I can't fucking afford it."
Listen, I can make you. So that was one of the first things that I started to make when I did moonshine, was my own Jack Daniels. And I have a buddy who's a lifelong Jack Daniels drinker. And when I gave him my version of Jack Daniels, he's like, "Dude, I would drink this every fucking day."
Every day, right? You're passionate about that stuff. That's
Well,
awesome.
just like you are with the music, right? So this is the best way I can describe it. It's when you take a passion and turn that passion into an obsession.
Yeah, right.
Then
Obsession.
that's when you're making something out of it, right?
Yeah, right.
That's when it's not work no more.
Right.
For me, it's just illegal.
My battery's going to go in about 5 minutes.
Okay, brother.
Okay.
Listen,
I got one question I did want to ask is, like, what is your favorite model guitar that you play? Like, what guitar do you love playing?
We got one more after
that. You guys are cool. I'm going to speak 100% truth. If I get in trouble, I don't care. I've played Dean guitars for almost 20 years. They built me custom guitars. My favorite guitar is, if you've ever seen, again, I'm such a hometown boy. They made me a guitar that they came to during COVID. All the players that play Dean guitars, they said, "Hey, the world shut down. We can still get in our factory while we have this slow time. We want to build every one of our endorsed artists the guitar of their dreams."
Oh wow!
So give us every spec you want. And so they built this guitar for me. Do you guys play?
I play.
I do. Yeah, we both do.
I can carry a tune.
So all through my life, even though I was a Van Halen guy, I was not a Kramer guitar guy. Do you remember Kramer guitars?
Yes, I do.
That was Eddie's first endorsement. They would make a copy of that Frankenstein of his. Anyway, but I worked at music stores as a kid, and I sold Kramer guitars and this and that, but I wasn't a fan of Kramer's, I didn't think. And I sent them the specs to this guitar that they built me, exactly what I wanted. And when I went down to the factory, the luthier that was making the guitar said, "So you're the guy we're building a Kramer for?" And then I did some research, and it's identical to what Kramer called a stage master back in the day. And I love the guitar more than anything. But I have a Les Paul that I've had since the 90s that I would die without. And I've broken the headstock off of it 3 times. I keep getting it put back together, and every time it gets put back together, it's a better guitar. And even though I shouldn't say this because I'm a Dean and Dorsey, right now I have a EVH, one of the EVH model guitars in my studio, and I can't put it down. it's a beautiful,
shit.
Yeah. But my Deans, they be all over the world with me. They hold up. They're incredible guitars. They play great. You know, I would never turn my back on them.
Okay. When are you going to be in Pittsburgh next, or around this area?
Well, you know, Saturday we're playing in Harrisburg.
That's right up by Rich.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. we're playing with Night Ranger and Quiet Riot. It's gonna be a good night. And then we're playing the Washington County, Washington, PA.
Oh, yeah.
That's where I grew up.
At the Meadows.
That's where I'm from, dude. Washington, that area, Bell Vernon, the Mon Valley. That's
Man, I want to come out there.
Friday, June 27th.
Can I use my old VIP pass?
Well, so if you text me for any of you guys, I'll put you on the guest list to those shows if you want to come.
Listen, bro, you don't even know what you just did, man. That just listen, you're freaking amazing, dude.
This has been a great hour.
Thank you, Pete.
You guys
I
are wonderful.
that, man.
I wish I brought my charger. I'd go all night long, but literally, like the screen's saying,
Okay.
it's gonna blow.
Well, maybe we can do a second one sometime.
I'll come on any fucking time, any day.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
dude, listen, fucking right, Pete.
Hey, and congratulations on winning that shit, man.
Hey, congratulations on being badass, bro.
Very kind of you guys.
Come on,
Yeah.
man. All right,
I gotta roll out.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much, brother. Thank you. Dude, how fucking cool was that? Hey, dude,
We
fuck.
smashed it.
killed it, motherfucker.
It was good. I think we're still live.
I don't care. That was a good fucking
That was great.
interview.
That was beautiful, man. Beautiful. I'm excited. That was a wonderful